People of the internet, the He-Man Woman Haters Club and the Manosphere have got their snuggies in a tuggy tonight because Joe Rogan is getting stomped out by two ladies, as Bill Burr would say. And check this out, because today I am going to show you all the latest and the greatest in the Joe Rogan Experience podcast war and how he can no longer cling on to number one. So let's check it out. Today, the top podcasts are Amy Poehler, Good Hang, and we might all love and cherish Amy Poehler in Parks and Recs. And guess what? Amy Poehler is a comedian, even though I don't know what that looks like as far as stand-up, but hey, I'll take it. Comedian Joe Rogan getting beaten by another comedian. Because, you know, the other day he was on, he's like talking about, I know this comedian and they're really terrible, but I'm still friends with them. Joe, people are still friends with you too. Anyways, and check this out. Self-help guru extraordinaire Mel Robbins, who was battling for number one with Joe a couple of weeks ago, is still beating Joe. Isn't that crazy? Now, what I want to look at here is the Apple podcasts right here. You can see that Joe Rogan, you know, he's chosen his stance in the political world. Well, he's kind of surrounded by the other side. And so, I mean, this is gonna get interesting. This is gonna get interesting. And you can see his closest ally is behind Charlie Kirk is behind a murder mystery. I love me a good murder mystery. I think I actually started to listen to this because people were Khloe Kardashian is sneaking up on Joe. Okay. All right, guys, I'm gonna say it here. If Khloe Kardashian surpasses Joe Rogan, I'm going to get naked for you. Sorry, dude. What was that? Oh, I did a video. Dude, I do so many videos I can't remember. That was Bert Kreischer. Oh, that was Bert Kreischer with Everlast and Big J. Okerson. You know what? Y'all need to egg on Bert. Anyways, moving on. I wanted to show you this right here, this little nugget. How does Good Hang with Amy Poehler rank in Apple charts and Spotify charts? Bro, this is gangster. Check it out. Comedy. Joe Rogan's getting spanked by a lady in comedy. She's also the top podcast in the United States. She's also the top comedy podcast on Apple and top podcast on Apple. She's number one in Australia. Number one in Australia again. This is pretty significant. She's putting a whooping on old Joe. So what does Joe have to do to get back? I think the problem here is Joe Rogan is just losing too many listeners. You know, that's the problem when you spout out your political side and then you dig in and you fight against the other side. You drew a line in the sand. And so people left. And the thing is because you're now speaking for that political side, you can gain more listeners back. You know, new fans, right? But that's going to take time if it ever happens to the level again. My prediction is Joe Rogan is going to keep losing listeners. I think people are tired of him. I think there's diehard fans for everything, so of course they're not. But I think he's just getting himself caught into too many conflicts. He's saying too many things that are hot button issues and that are making people really mad. You know, like, you can have opinions on a lot of things, but when you start messing with some of these hot button issues, You're just asking for trouble. And maybe that's what he's trying to do. He's struggling. I bet Joe Rogan cries himself to sleep. No, not asleep. He cries himself. Wait, hold on. Okay, wait, I got it. Okay. He cries by himself in the sauna so the heat dries his tears, and he could say he never actually cried. Because there and then he goes getting some cold plunge, and then gets back in the sauna, That's just how Joe does it. So, many of you, Amy Poehler, I'm sure we all know her, right? But many of you may be wondering, who is Mel Robbins? Well, okay, let's just do a little quick dive into her. And I want to show you that Mel Robbins has been coming for quite some time, and I'm going to show you. But first, let's get to know her. American author and podcast host Mel Robbins has built a career out of straightforward advice, whether it's dealing with depression, navigating career shifts, or tackling family struggles. Robin has been through it all. Now her tough love approach has catapulted her to the top of the self-help world with a best-selling book and a podcast that frequently rivals Joe Rogan's in popularity. And we'll just read one more paragraph. Oh, God, there's a lot. But on the Mel Robbins podcast, she refers to herself as your friend Mel and encourages listeners to face their emotions. Come on, guys. Let's all do it. Come on. Head on. In a recent episode discussing childhood trauma, she urged her audience to reflect on their past. It's not your fault, but it's your responsibility to yourself to do the work that you need to do in order to heal, to grow, and to become healthier and happier. She said at 56, Robbins has turned her own struggles, battling with depression, overcoming debt, and living with dyslexia, dramatic, into a thriving brand. She's like, she has used all her trauma to make money. Her latest book, The Let Them Theory, has sold over 3 million copies despite a broader slump in her self-help book sales. The book's central premise is simple. You can't control other people, only your reaction to them. I'm obsessed with trying to make the complex simple, Robin explains. It's something too complex, you're not going to use it. Her influence extends beyond books. Robbins' podcast, produced by her company 143 Studios, competes with Joe Rogan Experience for the #1 spot on Apple and Spotify. Her book signings sell out in hours, with secondary market tickets at Barnes & Noble's event in Los Angeles reaching 10 times the face value. Well, Mel Robbins is now a force for Joe to reckon with, because she is putting a boot in that ass. That is a Joe Rogan way. All right, anyways. Now, Mel Robbins has been coming for quite some time. And I just want to show you that she was already making moves in 2024. I know this might not interest everybody, but this little segment of the show here, the video, the YouTuber, is for the nerds out there that like to be little detectives. This is our murder mystery in the podcast world with no murders, just the murder of Joe Rogan's podcast from the #1 slot. So let's check it out. Here we have Apple sharing the most popular podcasts of 2024. So we could see in 2024, The Daily Crime Junkie, The Joe Rogan Experience, Dateline, Smartless, Huberman. Huberman's obnoxious. This American Life. I have listened to many episodes of that. That is just wonderful radio crafted to audio perfection. I'm a big fan. New Heights, dude, who the fuck? Jason and who cares what those retards have to say? Up First from NPR and Morbid. Now, those are the top shows. And the top news shows, don't need to know. These are the top series. Serial's good if you haven't listened. Let's see what the other ones. Dr. Death, yes, good. Rachel Maddow, The Binge Crimes. Yeah, I don't know those. Okay, now, I want you to look here that the top episodes were Crime Junkie, Joe Rogan, Dateline, Smartless, Vince Vaughn. I listened to that one. I just really like Vince Vaughn. I don't listen to Smartless anymore, though. It's just got a little too political for me, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to hear that either. Now, this is where it gets interesting for Mel Robbins. Mel Robbins had quite a boost because you see Huberman Labs, Commanda, Wiser Than Me, and down here at number 7, the Mel Robbins podcast was being one of the most shared shows. Now, Joe Rogan isn't on this list. So Mel Robbins, like they used to say in the 90s, 'cause I creep, yeah. All right, anyways, was creeping right here. We caught Mel Robbins creeping, and she was just sharing, building up those numbers, building up that new audience, getting them subscribers, right? Now, this is, well, where Mel really got her creep on. She was freaky deaky and came in number 2 with most shared episodes, beating Joe Rogan at number 5. So you see, Mel was making moves that lined her up at the end of 2024 for a perfect position to make a run at the top. And that she did. Now we look down here. We have most follow shows. Mel's still showing up on that list. Mel's building. Now look. If Mel is still being one of the most shared shows right now, and still pulling in some of the most shared episodes, then see, she's building. She's hitting all these lists. So now she's marketing from all angles. So Mel's been making moves. And that is how we got here today. I wanted to show you this, but they got it down. It was oh so good. Anyways, now we are all caught up on the Joe Rogan podcast wars. What would you call them? What anybody that makes it this far, put a good name. Give me a good I was gonna say the short wars, but I mean it's not really short, but you know Joe Rogan. Anyway, okay. Put a good name for these wars. This is interesting. It's more nerdy interesting. I like data. I like analyzing things. Making good theories. So this is for you people. But bottom line, Joe Rogan, he moved up from the Daily. He was at number 4. So, but bottom line, Joe Rogan, I did troubled waters. I told you, I predicted in my predictions that Joe Rogan was going to have something big happen in 2025. Just something altering. I think that's coming, but I think it's the devastation of his podcast, the slow grind of his podcast. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. And if you're crazy, hey, Mel Robbins can help you be your true self. All you got to do is be happy, whatever that means.